Yes, hello again. This is now Tarot Lesson 127, and I haven't really prepared this because we'll see what happens, see how if it can be spontaneous and make sense. So I had this. There's a quote from Wittgenstein that I'm going to get to in a minute, but I did a couple of videos ago ask you to tell me what you're struggling with or what kind of problems you've got with reading cards. And I had a few replies, and I've written them down, and I will get to them. But the point is, I've got 4 books that I've written, and if you go to thetarot.ca, you'll find information about them there. And I think they're going to be in the description down below anyway. But I'd like to do a new book, a new project, and a kind of tarot workbook. But this time, instead of me telling you or writing down what I think is interesting or important, I'd like to have you, viewers and interested people, tell me what you want to know about, or tell me what you struggle with, or what your problems with, or what you find confusing, so that the workbook, the book itself, would be based on your concerns, or the kind, it's like it starts with you and what you want to know about, and then if you want to know about it, other people are going to want to know the same thing. So if you wouldn't mind, or if you're interested, rather than leave a comment, by all means leave a comment and say you're going to send me an email. But if you could send to bllntr@yahoo.com, then I'm going to be sure to get the email, and I'll put it all together, and let's see what we can build, a tarot book for everybody, or a tarot book that really is the best ever. That's the idea. So the quote from Wittgenstein is this. He's talking about the problems of philosophy, and I happened to come across this. And so the point, he says here, the problems of philosophy here, I've got the problems are solved not through the contribution of new knowledge, rather through the arrangement of things long familiar. Philosophy is a struggle against the bewitchment of our understanding by the resources of language. That bit doesn't matter. It had to do with, I was struck by, problems are solved not through the contribution of new knowledge, but rather through the arrangement of things long familiar. And I'll leave it there if you want to pause the video and copy it. And I think, so no matter who you are, you may well think you don't know much, or that you need more information, you need new information about the tarot. But Wittgenstein is saying the problem of philosophy, I suppose any problem is solved not by new knowledge, but by rearranging things that are long familiar. So even if you're only 20, you know a million things, and I'm not exaggerating when I say a million, but you probably think you don't know that much. And even if you're 40, you may think when it comes to tarot, you don't know that much. But actually, you know, 20 million different things. But it's easy to think that you don't know that much. And so when I talk about knowing millions of different things, so where I live, you come in the front door, and then you go along a bit, and then here there are stairs, 5 stairs leading up to the main floor, and there's a living room here, and there's a kitchen at the end here, right? But if you continue along, there's a door that takes you downstairs to the basement. There are 9 steps down, and if you continue on, there's a room at the end here, right? So things long familiar. So we can look at that idea of a problem or a situation. So the thing is, I know how to walk. You know how to walk. And we tend to think that's nothing because everybody knows how to walk. it's important because we know that we put one foot in front of the other and we keep moving. And if we keep putting one foot in front of the other, we're going to move forward. So let's say somebody's got a problem. Are they walking along a flat road, a flat surface, which is one. So if you're solving a problem and it's a flat surface you're walking on, it's reasonably straightforward. Just keep going in that direction. And that can be the kind of answer that you give the person. So is this going to work out? It's a flat road. Yes, it's going to work. Just keep going. Keep moving in the direction you want to go in. Whereas with this point here, there are 5 steps up to the main living room. So sometimes you're in a particular position and you need to, if I can use this here, you need to, the solution is like this. You have to go up multiple steps. So what you do as a reader, you explain, this is step 1, and that'll give you a different insight. This is step 2, this is step 3, this is step 4. So even though you walk up and down stairs multiple times, maybe every day, you think nothing of it. And I think that's what the Wittgenstein point is. It's not so much you need new knowledge, you need to rearrange things that are long familiar. You know how to walk up and down stairs. Can you take the idea of walking up and down stairs and what is it on each different step and apply that to the answer to a tarot question? So as it happens, I mentioned here there are 5 steps up to the living room. There are 9 stairs down to the basement. And so the question might be, that we've got a question, and the answer might be, start where you are and go up. And these are the steps that you take. But I've also got a basement where I am right now. So maybe the solution to the problem is first you've got to go deep. You've got to go down to the basement. And there are multiple steps to get to the basis of the problem, or the core of the problem, or the root of the problem. And once you know what the root is, what the foundation is, or the real problem, then you can figure out what to do. Then you can come back up to the surface. So you take something as obvious as walking along a hallway, or up and down stairs, 5 stairs or 9 stairs up or down. And that gives you a way of understanding how to answer a question or how to solve a problem. So the point I'd like to make is, you know millions of things. And I think what you do is you write them all down, or you begin to write them down, or take seriously what you actually know. It's not that you need new knowledge. You just need to rearrange what you're already familiar with. With that in mind, I've got cards here. So I thought, what would happen if we were to pick a card at random and see, I'll get the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So I had been wondering about 127. This is lesson number 127. 1 and 2 is 3 and 7 is 10. And I thought maybe this lesson, or this, is going to be characterized by the Wheel of Fortune card. So what we could do is we can look at what's in the Wheel of Fortune. It's a wheel. And so we think about wheels. There's a bicycle wheel maybe, or maybe there's a wheel in a car. So the bicycle wheel things can go wrong because it's a wheel. Maybe you get a puncture, but you take off the tire, fix the inner tube, and put it back together again, and the problem is solved. Or you can, but while you're fixing the problem represented by the Wheel of Fortune, you can't move. And that may be the point about the Wheel of Fortune. When it's upright, you can keep going, you can keep moving because it's a wheel. When the Wheel of Fortune is upside down, you know, if you've ever had a bicycle and you had a flat tire or a puncture, you know you can't keep moving. So with the Wheel of Fortune reversed, the idea is, or something we know about the wheel upside down is, you've got to stop. You may not want to stop, but you don't have any choice. With the Wheel of Fortune upside down, you've got to stop, fix it, or do something different, or rest, or whatever it happens to. But because it's upside down, it may be the indication is you don't like it. You're not comfortable with it. So you have to stop. You're not comfortable. You figure out what the itch is, or what the stabbing pain is, or whatever. I'm saying stabbing pain because I've been doing this thing on Hamlet, and Gertrude is going to be punished by the thorns in her bosom. Anyway, that makes me think thorns, and so anyway, maybe that's what we would do with the idea of the wheel. So I say this to you, and you know it makes sense, even though you didn't think of it maybe at this point, but you could have thought of it. And that's the point I want to make, that if you pay attention to your own thinking and understand that you don't need new knowledge necessarily, you just need to rearrange things you're long familiar with. You can take a simple thing like walking into a house or walking up and down stairs, and you can apply, or you can incorporate that kind of information into a tarot spread. So I don't know what else to do with this Wheel of Fortune. So the other thing is, I'm saying we do this spontaneously and at random. And so if you turn a card, for instance, this one, the Empress reversed, and if you don't know what to say about it, put it back and pick another one. You don't need to do it's up to you always to choose what you're going to do. And if you don't like the look of it, or you're not sure about it, maybe you write down, the Empress came up, the Empress reversed, wasn't sure what to say about it, and you write that down. And then you pick another card and you get the King of Pentacles, and maybe you've got ideas about what to say about this King of Pentacles, what familiar information you've got that you can apply to the King of Pentacles. It's a king, right? So we know about kings and queens and royalty, and maybe there's a scandal about the British royal family just came up, and so maybe you're thinking about King Charles, who's now got some kind of medical problem. And so maybe that's something about a king, even though, and maybe you think about that. We know that King Charles has got prostate cancer. And so you can think a king, maybe the idea of a king is that they're in control, they're in charge, they can do whatever they want because they're rich and powerful. But kings are still subject to ill health. Kings get cancer in the same way that regular people get cancer. So kings are kings, and they're special and different. But sometimes they're the same as all of us. And they're subject to the same problems or difficulties or objections that we're all subject to. So maybe when you see a King of Pentacles and you're talking about this represents the boss, maybe there's another card goes with it. Not the Queen. I'm trying to think of something. Yeah, the Four of Coins. Let's say the Four of Cups reversed. This with this. So the king is given something he wasn't expecting because it's upside down and it's hanging in the air. So it could be that even though he's a king, he's still subject to bad news. So the boss, if this King of Pentacles represents the boss in the question, then along with the Four of Cups reversed, he thinks he's in control of everything, but he's going to get a rude awakening. And I say awakening because this person might be asleep, leaning against the trunk of the tree. So here we've got the idea of being in control and thinking, and maybe thinking that nothing can go wrong because you're in a privileged position. Here as a king, privileged position. But we're all human and we're all subject to king, right? The king is the king. And the king has subjects, right? The people that the king rules. But the king is also subject to the rules of health or the kind of things that happen on earth. So the king may be in a privileged position at the moment, but not all the time and not forever. So we can get that idea from a king and King Charles in the news at the moment, maybe if you happen to have any idea about what's going on in Britain. So again, the point I'd like to make, and I'll reiterate, is this point about it's not that you need new knowledge, you need to arrange things along familiar. So that was it for today. So as I say, if you could, or if you're interested, send me an email and tell me what you struggle with. But if you could also leave in the comment, because it helps the algorithm on YouTube apparently, if you can write a comment and say, you don't need to explain what your problem is, but tell me you're sending me a direct email, and then YouTube will think, or will respond well to the fact that you left a comment. So that was it. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, bye-bye.